Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. Let's bring you the big stories we're tracking for you at this very hour. Troops apprehend suspected kidnap kingpin attempting to escape from Kwara local government area in Taraba State. Southwest governors across party lines re-echo call for state police, lament criminal activities by bandits and kidnappers carried out in the region's forests. Thanks again for joining us on the program. We say we give you all access pass to the big happenings in politics and in the polity. And just before we get to our lead story, we can tell you now that the INEC National Chairman, Professor George Amufuton, is swearing in a resident electoral commissioner who was reappointed by President Bola Tinubu sometime in October, was serving Ekiti and Oyo State. And he will be, as he has just been sworn in, trying to get across to his name exactly, Professor Adeniran Teller as the resident electoral commissioner of INEC. He had served his last posting in Oyo State. So that's the latest as far as INEC is concerned. But I'll begin the tracking of the polity with some success recorded by troops of 6th Brigade Nigerian Army Sector 3 Operation Wild Stroke following the arrest of suspected kidnap kingpin in Taraba State, identified as Abubakar Bawa. He's believed to be a close associate of Umar Musa, another notorious kidnap kingpin, arrested by 6th Brigade troops who attempted to escape from Kwara local government area when he was caught. The spokesperson of the 6th Brigade, Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Umar Mohammed, explains how preliminary investigations have established strong links between the two suspects and a wider criminal syndicate responsible for multiple kidnappings, violent attacks, and coordinated criminal activities across the region. The Nigerian Army also urges residents to remain alert and provide credible information that will further assist security agencies in their ongoing efforts. So that's some success story coming in from the Nigerian Army in the middle of all the challenges that is being faced across the country. So when we see this, we applaud them and we appreciate their effort in getting this criminal element to where they should be. But let's talk to you about what played out yesterday in Ibadan, where the Southwest Governors Forum is calling on the federal government to urgently begin surveillance of forests across the 6 states of the Southwest region. The governors also insists on the need for the immediate establishment of state police to beef up security, not just in the region, but in the entire country.
The forum agreed to set up a Southwest Security Fund, which will be set up under the Dawn Commission. And this fund will be administered by a forum of special advisors on the security of all the Southwest states. And they have been mandated to ensure that they keep on a monthly meeting amongst the 6 special advisors. 2, the forum also set up a joint security intelligence sharing and communication platform. The forum resolved to establish a live digital intelligence sharing platform amongst all the 6 Southwest states. This platform will exchange threat notification, will ensure that incidents are logged, traveler and cargo alerts, and coordinate state-to-state response, among others. Thereafter, the forum calls on the federal government to note the urgent need for enhanced forest surveillance across the Southwest states, and enjoin and call on the federal government to secure the vast forest belts that have become hideouts for all sorts of criminal elements. To this end, the forum agrees that the federal government should help deploy the forest guards across across the southwest states, with each state government responsible for providing the required personnel.
And more stories now. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has called for the strengthening of the town and gown to boost the nation's security network, the national rebirth, as well as nation building, while giving his keynote address at the 3rd edition of the Lagos State University of Education Security Summit in Lagos. The IGP said that the town-gown partnership must no longer be viewed as a conversation between the police, must now be viewed as a conversation between the police and the universities alone.
Third edition of the Lagos State University of Education Security Summit. This edition, with the theme Strengthening the Partnership Between the Town and Gown in the Age of Insecurity, draws the attention of academics, traditional rulers, community leaders, policy shapers, and students. The keynote speaker is Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and he arrives in company of senior officers within the zone. The Vice-Chancellor of the university emphasizes that education remains the most powerful security strategy.
A university is not an island. Our people live, commute, volunteer, trade, worship and celebrate beyond our gates. Ideas, goods, people move between campuses and community every hour of the day. And when insecurity interrupts that movement, the social fabric frays and development stalls. Education is the most powerful security challenge and strategy. The conviction that animates this university is also security. It equips minds to resist manipulation, hands to build livelihood, and hearts to choose peace.
The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Egbetokun, highlights that the town-gown partnership must no longer be viewed as a conversation between the police and the universities alone.
When the teacher and the officer work together, crime loses shelter. When ideas and enforcement work together, peace begins to take shape. The town-gown partnership must no longer be viewed as a conversation between the police and the universities alone. It must evolve into a national doctrine of collaboration.
The IGP also calls for the strengthening of the town and gown to boost security network, national rebirth, as well as nation building.
For too long, the classroom and the community have worked in parallel lines, learning separately, serving separately. It is time to bridge that divide. The police safeguard the streets, the university safeguards the nation's intellect. The police know what happens, the scholar knows why it happens. The solution to national security lies somewhere between the what and the why. When these two realms merge, the practical wisdom of the town and the intellectual capital of the gown, a nation moves from reaction to prediction.
As the summit comes to a close, discussions on how to develop research tools within the walls of institutions which will assist in redirecting operations of security agencies at tackling insecurity across the country.
A few steps away from being presented with the amendment to the national or to the constitution by the committee, both in the bicameral chambers. Now, they had their presentation, and this is going to lead up to the presentation on the floor of the bicameral chambers before it goes to the State Houses of Assembly. The Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, as well as Barau Jibrin, the Deputy Senate President, also made comment during that presentation, as well as the Chairman of the Conference of Speakers. Let's take a listen to them before I bring in my guest.
People yearn for reforms that will carry out the following. 1. Devolve power and bring governance closer to the grassroots. 2. Localize internal security through innovative approaches like state police. 3. Empower their voices through credible election. 4. Ensure fiscal federalism and equitable resource distribution. 5. Protect the rights and dignity of every citizen, regardless of gender, ethnicity, or religion. And 6. Guarantee local government autonomy so that development reaches the last community. The amendment we agree upon today will shape Nigerian democracy for generations to come. Permit me also to inform this distinguished gathering that In keeping with our commitment to intergovernmental partnership, all governors of the Federation will be formally briefed on Wednesday, 26 November 2025. Distinguished colleagues, the Constitution we seek to refine is the soul of our republic.
It will also offer them the opportunity, that is, the speakers.
Let me bring in my guest. Bishop Amakri is the YPP National Chairman. He joins us from Abuja studio. Mr. Amakri, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yeah, good afternoon, Geoffrey. Thank you for having me.
There's a lot to unpack within the time we have. So let's start with the nugget or the most pressing of all of them, which has to do with the national security of our country. As we speak, the 25 girls are still in captivity. Significant number of the children abducted in Niger State are still in captivity. The Kwara abductees have been freed, although the government is not clear to us as to how that happened. But the last comment we had from one of the spokesperson, I don't know what kind of conversation they had with the terrorists when they released them. We don't know whether the terrorists were killed. It was negotiated for ransom. We don't know the details. But how is YPP viewing the state of the nation?
Okay, thank you, Geoffrey. I think in this conversation, maybe let's just let's put aside political allegiance, and I'm going to speak, you know, as Bishop Amakri, a citizen of this country, and then not about YPP, because pragmatically speaking, we should be discussing about nation building even without attaching sentiment of politics in it. So for me, my views are going to be, you know, basically on suggestions and solution driven, because I think we have dissipated a lot of energy actually on analysis or theories. You see, first, let us even it's important we understand that even the Constitution of the land, in section 14(2)b of the Constitution, it was explicit when it discussed about the life, the life and, I mean, the security is an obligation, you know, of the government, which means the welfare and the security of the citizens is a primary obligation, you know, of the government. So we can't get results if we do not even begin to understand some of these things and deal with them very squarely. For example, this thing you have mentioned, I don't celebrate expectants. I don't celebrate expectants. It is the duty of the government to be more proactive. In this case, it looks like governments are more, let's do away from reactionary measures and actually give energy to proactiveness. It doesn't look like the government is really, you know, coordinating themselves in the manner that they really want to actually deal with this issue of insecurity. And it gives me a lot of worry. And let me give you an example. My brother, they say a fool at 40 is a fool forever, right? It's a perpetual fool. I am over 40. So I can't be talking about, we know the problems. These things are not rocket science, okay? In these times of digitalization, of modern time, where we know that these issues can be dealt with squarely, even by deploying technology to see how we can deal with these issues, we are still dealing with it maybe in a more like a very kid manner. I am not impressed at all. And I think that it is high time for the president, frankly speaking, to declare state of emergency on security in Nigeria. State of emergency in security. The same way he declared state of emergency in the political issues during the time what it went on River State. You know, we all know what happened in River State when the president came out, spoke. He had the time to address the country on the issues, political issues that were going on in River State. So that same time, I want the president to please also show some remorse, have a time, and come out on national television to declare state of emergency on security, because we're in a precarious situation today as we speak when it comes to security in Nigeria. And as the suggestion I'm talking about here now is that I think that we should, leadership, especially most of our politicians who think they want to be mixing politics with governance, it has never given us result over the years. And the reason is, how can you, an institution or a ministry like Ministry of Defense, you're also playing politics with it. You are bringing a former governor, two former governors. The minister, number one minister, is a former governor. Minister of State is a former governor. For God's sake, what experience do they have about security? What experience do they have? But
so, Mr. Margaret,
it becomes like political compensation.
If I may come in, Mr. Margaret,
maybe we're able to galvanize some kind of political capital for you to make you win election or whatever, and you think that it is actually a yardstick for them.
All right, if I may come in, you've said you've talked about you want to talk about solutions. So let's stay with the solutions. What would the shape, what would a state of emergency on security look like? I would like you to explain. And do you think that the president should fire the ministers of defense because they don't have capacity or they don't have any qualification for that position by your own assessment?
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, when I say state of emergency, declaring state of emergency, it means that that is, like I said earlier, we are in a precarious situation now that Nigerians are looking for, we are in a dire need of solution in security. Now, the statement that will be made by the CNC, the number one citizen of the country, declaring state of emergency, it will bring some kind of energy into all the security agencies of the country, and it will put everybody on his or her toes that, look, at the moment, there is state of emergency declared on security. The security situation in Nigeria must be dealt with. Now, the leader is now taking a lead, is charging his lieutenant that, look, this is the situation we are in the country, and there is no compromise regarding this. Now, when we talk about incompetence, or you are asking me whether the minister should be fired, do I need, if you want, give me a microphone. I can go to the street of all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, sponsor me, give me the logistic. I am ready to do that. That, yes, the ministers should be sacked. The two ministers, both the Minister of State and the senior minister, all of them should do that, because it looks like they are helpless in providing the solution to that problem, because they don't have the idea, they don't have the technical know-how, they don't have the expertise to deal with the issues. So security is not something you politicize. You just bring some persons because they are members of your political party, and then you just want to compensate them, political compensation. You give them a ministry such as Minister of Defense. And let me ask you, Geoffrey, do you think that those ministers have performed, even you in your own honest assessment? Do you think they have performed? And that's why I said, let's stay with the issues of national issues. When it comes to national issues, we must jettison our parochial interests and bring forth the real issues on the table so that we can have problems.
So there are two proposals on the table. Just a moment, two proposals on the table, which I would like you to intervene. Now, there are people who are saying Trump should come with his army. Some say no, he shouldn't come with his army, and Nigeria should look for the support they can get from the American government. We're hearing that they will share intelligence. They also will provide some equipment. That's on one hand. What's your take on that? What's the way to go in that direction? Second, I was speaking with Sheikh Gumi, who has always been, some people refer to him as a terrorist or bandit sympathizer. He said, look, non-kinetic approach will solve this problem better in the long term. But there are people who say these people are blood-sucking killers. Should take them out through kinetic approach. What's your proposal for the long-term solution and the immediate resolution? Okay,
let me start with the Trump issue. The Trump issue, number one, It's even very, very, I think we should even thank some of our foreign partners that are willing to come and render assistance to the problem we are faced with today, you know? And I think that in its own direction, for me, is a welcome development, that if Trump has some solution to proffer, but it must be in a manner, that these diplomatic measures must be well fine-tuned, where our president and Trump himself should sit down on a round, table discussion and fine-tune some of these processes in which they say they are willing to come and offer, solution to our problem. I do not think that is a problem at all. So for me, it's a welcome development. But it should be well fine-tuned through the process of, diplomacy, and for me, I think that the president, they know better than us. They know how to go about these things better than us. And that's why I say the will, if the will is there, I think the solution can be provided. So let the president, and this time around, I think we should jettison this iota of ego. Maybe this egoism cannot solve the problem. We have an issue at hand, which the whole entire nation, country, are looking for a solution. So if we have foreign partners, not even only America, if we have other foreign partners who are willing to provide a solution to our problem, why not? After all, what is the essence of humanity? It is help me, I help you. Who knows tomorrow, maybe even the America might look for our own assistance. That's not, it's very possible. So, and the doors should not be closed shut for ideas like that. Partnership in progress, for me, is a welcome development. So what Trump is proposing to come and solve our problem, I don't think is in the wrong direction. Then number two, you talk about the Sheikh Gumi. Look, when a man stays around his ideology, it is very difficult to convince that person. Maybe Sheikh Gumi is pursuing his kind of ideology. You can never change his mindset on the ideology he's pursuing, all right? Now, it's left for the security agencies now to do their due diligence, to do the needful, and see what they can do in kind of, going into intelligence gathering, to invite even some of these persons, not only Sheikh Gumi, maybe the security agency, they might have their own records of the kind of people. After all, we had over time about some persons who have said, there are some of these Boko Haram members in their government. Recently, we had the Kebbi State governor saying, yes, there is a kind of some compromise or sabotage in all of these things. So I think it is left for the security agencies now to do their due diligence and go into fact findings and see how they can invite some people, even by the utterances. Well, at least today we have seen so many people or some persons who have been prosecuted in terms of their utterances, right? And today they are in jail. Okay, so if people make utterances that is capable of igniting some social, catastrophe, then I think those kind of people should be invited, should be questioned. So that's, I think, for me, the security agencies must be upright. They must wake up and do the needful in this regard.
Yeah, we just have about 2 to 3 minutes. As we are speaking, I just got this from our reporter in Kwara that bandits have struck Isakpa community in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State. They struck Eruku the other day, where the 38 were abducted, 2 killed. So this one is in that same local government, a town called Isakpa community, abducting 11 residents. The gunmen, numbering more than 20, stormed the community with large herd of cattle on Monday, firing shots indiscriminately. An elderly woman was reportedly hit by the stray bullet during the incident. A community leader confirmed the incident under anonymity, said 11 people have been abducted, 7 victims belonging to the same family. The kidnapped victims include a pregnant woman, 2 nursing mothers, and several young children. Eyewitnesses account had it that the attackers moved through the parts of the town, leaving holes in the walls and doors. My last question, given this breaking news here, is the Nigerian state failing, or this is politically motivated, as Ojikalu will want to put it? 2 minutes. Okay,
in this context, I would say that the leadership is failing indeed, not the Nigerian state itself, but leadership is failing. And that is why there is need for a radical change towards leadership. Because if there is leadership, all these things will not be happening. Leadership is why you are hearing Trump, splitting fire, saying, look, I have the solution to provide to you for your country. Okay, if you need me, I can come. In fact, he was even using some forceful, statement by saying, if you don't, like commanding kind of statement, you must do this, otherwise I'll come and do that. Maybe that's leadership. In this case, if we have leadership in place, all these things in this generation, this 21st century, it's not possible, Geoffrey. I don't want to play into the gallery of those who say it's politics. How do you mean? What do you mean by politics? How can people be politicizing people's life? And every time things happen like this. So this thing that has happened in Kwara now too is also politics. Leadership has failed. And when leadership failed, it cut across board. It means that there is a system that is not working, and then that there is a leadership that needs to come into place to provide, to make sure a system works. So at this point, yes, the present political architect, the present political leadership has failed Nigeria. There is need for a kind of radical paradigm shift change of leadership.
All right, Mr. Amakri, totally out of time.
Passionate, driven to serve this country.
We're totally out of time. Thank you. If I took two things out of this conversation, it would be that you say leadership has failed and the president should sack his defense ministers. Bishop Amakri, YPP national chairman.
He should sack them and now make himself the minister of defense.
All right, thank you.
Make himself. Mr. Fogg, let him leave Ministry of Petroleum for technocrats to come and man the Ministry of Petroleum.
We're totally out of time.
Let
Thank you so much.
Ministry of Defense, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amakri, for your thought. And that's it on the program. Thanks for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.